Guys, hope all of us are doing great. My name is Ernest, and this is Ernest Sciences and the Mathematics TV channel. So in this specific discussion, we're going to look at the first phase of swallowing. And of course, as I said, swallowing basically is a complex action that is going to involve various range of muscles and the pharynx and the esophagus. And of course, these are going to be coordinated in some way through various muscles movement and some activities around the oral cavity and the pharynx and the esophagus, as I said. Now, this displays which I'm going to use, a series of displays are going to consist of a pictorial representation, which of course I do not own the right to, but I like to direct our members to this specific site for Pearson Education. And I found this specific site informative and containing literature materials which are very essential for us in understanding the overall aspect of the human anatomy and the physiology. So in this case, I'm going to use this specific illustration. And of course, as I said, we are going to discuss three basic processes and the process of swallowing. And this, of course, entailed the concept of oral phase, the esophageal phase, and the pharyngeal phase in this specific case. And I'd mentioned that basically for the oral phase or the buccal phase, this is going to be a voluntary action, which of course is going to be facilitated by muscles and other kind of movements around this oral cavity. Now, in a sense, I had said that the activities of this specific region entail the breakdown of food into a simple or non-complex portions, which can be digested or are easier to, of course, cause digestion along this specific track, and of course, which is easier, going to cause easier movement of food along other sections of the digestive system. Now, this specific point for the buccal phase, it's going to entail the tongue pushing the already broken, physically broken food into the oral pharynx. And of course, we're going to see that this specific soft palate, which consists of this particular section, is going to, of course, tip backwards, and it's going to allow the movement of food in forms of boluses towards this specific region. Now, of course, this particular section, which we have mentioned for the epiglottis, is going to tip backward, and it's going to prevent food from moving into this specific section of the air intake system. Now, this is going to ensure that food goes into the right channel, and this is going to be the pharynx section of this specific digestive system. Now, the process of a buccal phase therefore ensures that food successively moves from the mouth into the lower section of this particular part of the digestive system, and it's going to entail the coordinated movement over this particular part of the human tongue into this specific section, and the tipping over this epiglottis and other muscle regions around this place ensures that the food enters into the correct channel. Now, in my next illustration, I'm going to look at the final section of the esophageal phase and the pharynx phase, which are going to form our subsequent phases of this process of swallowing in that specific order. Now, in my subsequent videos, I had looked at the concept of course, the, the pharyngeal phase, which basically was also an involuntary process that is involved in the concept of swallowing. Now, I'm going to put a link of that specific video in this particular case, so that we have a clear picture of the three phases for the oral, buccal, the pharyngeal, and the esophageal phase. Now, I'd mentioned from basic mention of the human anatomy in our first video that the esophagus basically is a straight tube, muscular tube that is going to extend from the pharynx to the cardiac orifice of the stomach. And of course, at this specific point, we are going to see that basically it's going to be a connection between the pharynx and the stomach, which is going to form this lower part of or the upper part of the diaphragm, as I'm mentioning this specific phase. Therefore, it's going to lead into an opening into the stomach at the lower esophageal sphincter, which is going to be a constriction, a muscle constriction at this specific point. Therefore, we're going to look at the concept of course, the esophageal, and of course, we're going to see that this also is going to constitute a range of muscles around this. This is going to entail the concept of muscle contraction, which is going to be, of course, leading to a process of peristalsis. And of course, this is going to be, as I said, an of course, going to be a process that, as I said, is a propulsive movement of food along this esophagus into the stomach, which is going to be a coordinated activity. And as I said, of course, we're going to have this specific three phases of swallowing for the buccal or the oral or the oral phase, and of course the esophageal phase and the pharyngeal phase, coordinating together to ensure that food from this specific entry point into the stomach is being coordinated and of course moves down smoothly. So in our next discussion, we're going to look at the concept of digestion in the stomach, and that is going to form a subsequent discussion from this particular aspect of food breakdown, physical breakdown, and swallowing. And of course, we're going to see what are some of the other activities that are going to occur around this place. Now, I'd like to encourage our members to check our description boxes for various links of other similar videos, and that's going to complement on this specific part of the concept of digestion, which we are discussing in some of our videos in this particular case. So that is it for now, guys. Bye. God bless you. Catch us in our next video.